Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about a book that I just finished. I wanted to give a review. I thought this one deserved a standalone review. I finished it last night, and it was an enjoyable read for me, which is really exciting. It's a haunted house story. I know that I mentioned it before. This one is The Spite House. This is a new release. I finished it pretty quickly. I think it probably took me maybe like 6 hours to get through. It was a very easy read. Got through it. What is it? It's just a hair over 250 pages, so it's fast. Anyway, this is The Spite House by Johnny Compton. This is his first novel, which is even more impressive with how well I felt that it was written. As you can tell by the cover, my suspicions that I mentioned before, this is indeed a haunted house story, which I really enjoy. A haunted house story. There's so many books that are pitched as haunted house stories that turn out to be like lame. This was not a lame haunted house story. This was what I would say more traditional horror, which I really enjoyed. I'm gonna put this book down now because it's just kind of weird to hold my hands up here the whole time. It was more of a traditional horror story, which I really like, because when that's done really well, you don't need to go for like all this crazy shit. If you can do a traditional horror story really well, I think is I don't know. Is it underappreciated? Does it just seem underappreciated to me? I don't know. But I feel like traditional horror, where it's not just like shock and awe going on. Just give me some creepy stuff going on. Things don't have to get like totally crazy. And that's what this was. This was like a traditional horror story, haunted house story. I'm not spoiling anything by saying that, because it definitely had like some unique elements as far as like the haunted house, what was going on, what actually was going on with this house. And I won't give spoilers in this review. Going in, his writing was so good, especially I feel for a first time novel. Like, it was really impressive how he was able to give so much, build the environment, not just of the house, I just mean in the book, like show the relationships between the characters, set up a mysterious background for some of the characters and situations that were happening. Like, tell me who the characters are. He did that really efficiently and not in a clunky way that so many times I'll read a book where I feel like, and you know, I mean, who the hell am I? I've never had like I have written like stories before, but I sure as hell haven't had anything published. So like, who am I to be judging these, you know, the writers that do get published? Well, I'll tell you, I'm a random person on the internet, and that's what we do, right? And so I'm gonna share my my opinion about this, my very unprofessional opinion. But so many writers, when they try to have the reader get to know the characters, do it in a way that is the only word that comes to mind for me is uncomfortable. I feel like they aren't quite sure, because in their mind, if it's anything like me from when I've done writing, they've already got this vision you know, in their mind, what the character looks like, who their character is, and it's already in here. And translating that to get someone else to have the same image and ideas of a person in their mind of your creation, like, that's not an easy thing to do. I will be the first to say that is not an easy thing to do. So like, I totally get when there are writers where they can't really do a smooth introduction or description, introduction to or description of their characters. I totally get why that can feel so, like, I don't know, unnaturally done, kind of like just like jammed in there. That's what she said, but like, it's true. I totally get it. Anyway, all that to say, this was not that. This author, Johnny Compton, he developed the characters, I thought, really well. Each chapter is, it jumps around to the points of view of different characters. Sometimes you go back and you'll see an event from a different character's point of view that you already saw from somebody else's. Sometimes it'll pick up just sequential and, you know, just keep an event going. Like, it'll stop from one character's point of view and pick up at another character's point of view. Thought that was really interesting. I do like when books can do that well. I think it's something that does keep me engaged when authors do that, and they do it in a way that makes sense and in a way that's interesting. This was interesting because I think that was a good style choice for this book, because it is important in this book, again, without spoiling anything, it is important to understand the thoughts of each person at different points in time. So I really liked that he jumped to giving like a first person narration for different characters, for different chapters. I thought that was really awesome. And I love that he did enough, and like, he's like the Goldilocks of this for me, honestly. He didn't do too much. He didn't do too little. He did just enough, just the right amount of give me some creepy shit really early on to draw me in, but like, don't overwhelm me. Don't just pile on. Don't try to shock and awe me. Just give a little taste. Give me a little taste and let's just go along. Why we gotta rush through it? Like, why do you have to be all up in my face? You don't have to be in my face. And he was not in my face. He introduced creepy stuff pretty quickly into the story, but it was like, it was just done in a really smooth way. Again, I was so impressed with his writing. Can't compliment it enough, because that's a huge thing for me. I struggle if a book has poor writing. I struggle to get through it. It takes almost all of the enjoyment out of it at that point. If the story is like still interesting, I will still finish it, or I'll at least skim through the point where I'm like, okay, I've hit the wall. I'm not cut. Like, I'm done, cut, production. I'll at least skim through to see what happens, like, to complete the story. But it is not enjoyable to me to read a book that the writing is poor. So I really appreciate and recognize when an author, I think, writes really well. And it was really enjoyable. Plus, it was a haunted house story, which, like, I love. Maybe my only complaint about this book is that I wish I got more time in the haunted house. We did spend time in the creepy house, but like, God, I would have loved even more. I'm like, we really, give me another book where like all we do is like, I want this author to write another book. I hope that he does. I hope he writes another creepy book. And like, give me like double the time. Double the amount of time with the creepiness. Because of how he did it, it was so good. It was like just the right amount of creepy. There was one point actually there was a couple of points in this book where I got like the hair on the back of my neck raised. And I actually said out loud, I was like, oh no, as I was reading, I'm like, no. And like that doesn't happen to me very often when I'm reading. And so, but again, it wasn't just like, it wasn't, it was the good kind of scared. Like, if you like scary, like, books or movies, then I think you know what I mean when I say the good kind of scared. It wasn't like, it wasn't just, like I said, it wasn't shock and awe. It was just like, we're going to sit around a campfire and I'm going to tell you a creepy story about a guy with a hook. That kind of like good kind of scared. And that's what this was. Like, that's what this was. Actually, I was going to read one of the stories that like made my hair on the back of my neck raise, gave me literal goosebumps because like the hair on my arms was raising when I got to this. I won't spoil what's happening at this part of the story, but I started reading, like I got to this page and I was like, oh God. So I'm gonna read just this one short paragraph here from the Spite House. So we enter into the scene here. It's one of the main characters, Eric. The bulb in the center of the hall lit up, but its light could not penetrate the thick darkness at the other end of the hallway. Have to ask for a brighter bulb to be put there, he thought. The thought retreated as his eyes adjusted. Was there someone standing at the end of the hall? He sensed this more than he saw it, like the air had shifted closer to him. It brought up the goose flesh on his arms. He saw a small figure within the darkness, like a body pressing against a thick black curtain. Was it facing him? Facing the wall? He could not tell. The longer he stared, the more convinced he was of the shape's presence. His imagination would have swayed the figure one way or the other, moved it closer or farther away, stretched or compressed its height. It wouldn't have been able to hold the form so rigidly, he thought, and he was sure the hall had grown colder than it had been a few seconds earlier. Okay, I just had like the hair on my face and the back of my neck and my arms raising up, and I've already finished this book. I already know what happens. That is just so freaking creepy because, I don't know, I have had this experience being in a hall where it's like the light or a room where the light doesn't quite reach to like far corners and like your mind starts playing tricks, and oh my God, whew, that like even now I know how this book ends, and reading that just freaked me out again. I know what happens in that part of the book, and at the end of the book I already know, and yet reading that just okay. So it's that kind of like, that's the kind of like tantalizing creepy that he gives in this book, and I just love it. Easily the next book that Johnny Compton, and I'm gonna hold this up because like, for real, good job, Johnny Compton, on your first novel. You wrote this so well. Like, I am very happy with you. I will buy his next book, like, without previewing it or anything. It was so good. I hope he gets a next book. I'm sure he will. This one. But if you like a haunted house story, really recommend that you try this one out. I thought that like what was behind the creepiness of the house was a really interesting concept. Also, BT dubs, like calling it the Spite House. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, it's like one of my favorite shows. Curb Your Enthusiasm had an entire season about a spite store with Larry David. And so, I mean, I was gonna buy this book regardless of what it was about, and I'm just like really happy that it turned out to be such a good book, because I bought it purely on title alone, because of my love for Curb Your Enthusiasm. So instead of a spite store, this is a spite house. Oh my god, like the next season of Curb, they should have somehow tie this in to where like now Larry David is beyond influencing spite stores opening up. Now he's inspiring like different forms of media to take the concept of the spite store and run with it. So yeah, this was a great read. I definitely sat and thought about how to rate this book because clearly I think you can tell I really loved it. Like I really loved this book. I did decide to rate this 4 stars though and not 5, only because I felt like we needed more time with the Spite House. A lot of the story took place outside of the Spite House. Like, when we're outside of the Spite House, it's still, the plot involves the Spite House, but I want to be in. You're going to give me a book called The Spite House. I want to spend a good chunk of time in this Spite House, and especially you set it up so well and you made it super creepy. Like, keep me in there. Keep me in there. Do some real, like, creepy stuff, and just let me marinate in the Spite House for a while. And that's literally the only reason that I did not give this 5 stars, is because I wanted like twice the time in the Spite House as what we got. Minimum twice the time, because it was done so well and so creepy. Like, I really wanted to be in there longer. Not in real life. God, if I ever encountered a haunted house in real life, no, I would be the person who is standing outside while everybody else starts to walk in, and I'm like, good luck everybody, you all are stupid. I'm going to get a room at like the Holiday Inn, okay? I am not staying here. So that would be me. Don't put me in a haunted house in real life. But when it comes to literature, put me in that haunted house. Keep me in there for a while. Make the hair on the back of my neck stand up for like an extended period of time. Give it to me. And I just really wanted more time in the house in this book, and that's the only reason I did not give it 5 stars. Other than that, if you like a haunted house book, I think you're gonna like this. If you like a book that is well written, I think you're gonna like this. Yeah, I strongly can't recommend this enough. This was really enjoyable. It's one of the more enjoyable, I think maybe the last haunted house book that I read, which I did enjoy. I would also give that like 4 stars. Was Mexican Gothic. I consider that a haunted house story. I don't know if everybody does. I considered it a haunted house story. But yet, even giving that 4 stars, that I more gave 4 stars, I read that last year. I would give that 4 stars because it was such... I won't spoil anything for that, but part of the story, like, there was creepy buildup. The writing was but I thought that the direction of the plot in that book was it was completely unexpected for me, so that's why I gave that the 4 stars. Rather, this book, like, clearly this is also a 4-star book, only because if I did like half-star ratings, this would get like a 4.75 star from me, and Mexican Gothic would probably get like a 3.75 star. So that's like the difference. I don't do partial partial stars though. I gotta like pick one. That's just how I think about it for myself. 5 is like, there's truly nothing that could have been done to improve upon this book, in my opinion. The Spite House, if I was doing partial stars, it would be like 4.75. But because I got to pick, because it wasn't perfect, it's 4. But it is an enthusiastic 4-star book from me. Enthusiastically 4 stars. Strongly recommend. Now that I know how creepy it was, because so many books that are labeled as like horror stories, like scary stories, I'm like, this isn't, this doesn't creep me out. This one creeped me out. I kind of wish I had saved it for like fall, you know, reading in like on a cold, creepy October night. But I mean, I'm glad I read it now because it was so good. But this definitely had it definitely had, like, if you want to read some creepy books in fall, I think this one will be what you're looking for. So that is all that I have for you in this video. Right now, I'm almost done with 2 other books. One of them I feel very strongly about. The other one, I'm like, meh. My thought is, like, I'm still brainstorming how I want to do, like, my reviews and my ratings on this channel. What I think I'm gonna do is, like today, I clearly had very strong feelings about the Spite House. I think that what I'll end up doing is, maybe like a monthly wrap up. I know a lot of channels do that, and I like watching those because it's an easy way for me to see reviewers like reviewers thoughts about like a number of books at once, which I do like. So I think I will probably end up doing that, and it'll be kind of just like a shorter thoughts video on like all the books that I've read that month. But if I feel like really strongly about a book, either positively or negatively, like I did today, very positively, maybe I'll create a standalone video just for the books that I feel strongly about, and then do like the middling, like any books that I feel just like meh, maybe I'll just keep that in like the wrap-up video, along with like a shorter summary of my thoughts on all the books. Does that make sense? Hopefully, I don't know if I translated that well out of my brain, but hopefully that made sense. If it did not make sense here, I think it's gonna make sense when you see my video. So yeah, that is all that I have today. I do have another video coming out later this week, and I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for watching. Have you read The Spite House? Do you plan to? Do you like a haunted house, scary story? Like, if you do, like, what's your favorite haunted house book? Probably the other one that I think is, I don't know, it's kind of the gold standard, right? Like, is The Haunting of Hill House. I also really one of my favorite series of all time, ties into it. But yeah, The Haunting of Hill House, they did the the limited series adaptation on Netflix, which I love. I watch that now like every year in October. I just really, really enjoyed what they did with that limited series. So yeah, like, do you like A Haunted House Story? Let me know what your favorite is. I'm always on the lookout for haunted house stories, like really good ones that are gonna be super creepy. Just I love that creepy factor. Like, give me something that's gonna like give me goosebumps and make me go, oh God, I don't know if I want to keep reading, but like I have to keep reading. So yes, that is all. I'm wrapping up. Thanks again so much for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.